Cześć wszystkim, z tej strony Astrid i witam was bardzo serdecznie w kolejnym odcinku z Vampyra. Gdzie ja jestem? A, ja jestem w kryjówce tutaj, a no tak, bo ja podchodziłam do stołu rzemieślniczego, tak? Tak, dobrze. Cieszy mnie to, że jestem w Dokahanie w softworku i tutaj jest akurat pani, której szukałam. Dzień dobry, Edwino.
Good evening, Miss Cox.
Hello again, Dr. Reid. What do you want?
I zapomniałam sobie zresetować się stopera. No cóż.
I managed to reach the mass grave in Southwark. It was not pleasant.
Spare me the details, Dr. Reid. All I want to know is what happened to those bastards who owed me money.
I'm afraid those bastards, as you call them, are in the mass grave.
Dead? Shit. That money would have been useful. Well, I'll tell my boys to avoid the place if it's that dangerous.
Yes. Everybody should avoid that place until further notice.
Okay then, Doctor. It looks like you deserve your reward after all. The Wet Boot Boys thank you for your help.
No dobra, szlingi dostałam, fajnie.
Have you got any news about Sean Hampton's shelter?
As long as he keeps on helping the poor, I'll keep my boys at bay, even if he pisses them off.
Dobra, sprawdźmy, czy możemy jeszcze porozmawiać na jakiś temat z nią.
Tell me your feelings about Booth's belief in monsters, Edwina.
It makes him look weak in front of the boys, that's my feeling about it. But ghosts don't scare me.
You don't believe he really saw something then?
I don't care what he saw or not. All I know is that a real man keeps his fears to himself if he wants to be obeyed.
Edwina nie wierzy w zdolności przywódcze Buffa Digbiego, uważa, że jest zbyt przesądny. A ten z kolei widzę, że tutaj są wszystkie wskazówki na jego temat. No to fajnie. Dobra, w takim razie dobijmy targu.
As long as you...
Fragment porządnego spustu. Dobra, kupujemy w takim razie. Co tam? Niewielki fragment zwyczajnego, bla bla bla. Czekajcie, co ja mam tutaj na sprzedaż? No parę rzeczy bym miała w gruncie rzeczy. No. Zegarek Jonathana możemy sprzedać. Pierścień, jakaś przyzwoita wartość przy ponownej sprzedaży, papierośnica. A co tam, weźmy sobie, sprzedajmy parę rzeczy. Naszyjnik jakiś. Dobra, nie. Chciałam to już normalnie. O Jezus Maria, ile ja tego mam? Zegarek. Tutaj mogę wyklikać. Zegarka Jonathana może nie będziemy sprzedawać. Myślę, że to troszeczkę nie bardzo. 125 punktów doświadczenia, fajnie. Dobra, teraz poszukuję Buffa Digbiego, który jest tutaj, niedaleko. No i cudownie. Siema.
You again. What do you want?
Pogadać z tobą.
Have you heard anything about Sean Hampton's shelter?
That bastard's become something of a holy man these days. And someone should remind him who really rules the docks.
Urocza. Dobra, tutaj nic widzę, nie pogadam, ale mamy... potrzebuję wskazówki, to pewnie temat Edwiny, której nie zdobędę, haha.
Tell me about the man you killed, Booth. What happened?
One of us had been killed, so we had to retaliate. That's the whole story.
There has to be more to it than that.
No, really, one of us got killed, so the killer had to die. That's how things have always been done round here. No one gives a shit.
I think you're wrong. Maybe the docks have always been violent, but you can't say the living don't suffer because of it.
And then what? Let the commies and the anarchists rule? Nah. We're the Wet Boot Boys. Our fathers died on these docks and they belong to us.
I know you believe monsters are real, Booth.
They are. I know, I saw one, but no one believes me.
Tell me what you saw.
It was a few years ago. Clay Cox was still the boss then. He'd sent me to the shipyard to find out who was stealing tools and ropes at night.
Go on.
First I thought it was an old lady with a limp. It looked frail and crooked. Then I saw it grab a bloody beam and lift it like it was a stick. I shouted. It looked straight at me.
Do you know what it was?
It was all eyes and long teeth, but I couldn't see its face. I shot at it when it moved towards me and I hit it. And then it jumped and vanished in the shadows.
You could have imagined all that. These docks can be so gloomy at night, with the fog and the wind and the boats creaking.
No, Doctor. That night I saw the fucking sewer dog for real. It's not a beast like the stories say. It's the ghost of an old woman. Bullets can't stop it. But no one believes me.
Are your friends mocking you?
Even Edwina told me once to never speak about it, but I know what I saw. And it wasn't human. Not human at all.
No dobra, w takim razie to chyba wszystko. Wszystkie tematy, na jakie mogłam z nim pogadać. W dokach chyba nikt nie jest chory, jeśli ja dobrze pamiętam, więc okej. Teraz tak, do Dysona Dillani bym się chciała przejść, bo z nim, u niego mogę skończyć zadanie, więc właśnie z nim bym chciała pogadać. Witam.
Good evening, Mr. Delaney.
What? Oh, you're that doctor.
Tak.
Do you have any recent news of Sean Hampton's shelter?
I still sleep over there from time to time. A sad saint still manages the place, even if he's a little bit more reclusive since he returned.
I found the location of the explosion, Mr. Delaney. I placed a flower for you where it happened, just as you asked.
Really? That's so kind. I never thought someone would... Well, thank you, Doctor.
It's nothing, really. And I'm sorry for your loss.
What? No, I didn't know them. No car was supposed to park there that day. Stupid bastard, why did he park there?
You're the man who hid that bomb.
O! Dyson jest odpowiedzialny za atak bombowy, w którym zginęły przypadkowe osoby.
I don't want to talk about it. Leave me alone.
Ciekawe, śledztwo zakończono sukcesem przy okazji.
Is there any...
Dobra, to było.
Is it true Sean Hampton saved your life?
Yeah. A sad saint grabbed my soggy ass and brought me back to the pier after I fell into the canal. I was a wreck back then.
And yet you're still drowning in cheap liquor.
Sean Hampton really acted like a saint that day. But I suppose I'm just another lost soul who doesn't deserve to be saved.
Aha, też opcja. Dobra, co my tutaj mamy?
I want you to remember the bomb, Dyson. Tell me about it.
No, I don't want to remember it.
The victims. They were not the target then.
I spent so much time figuring out the perfect moment. I used a short fuse. No car had ever parked there. They all died.
No, Dyson, they didn't all die. I met a boy who survived the explosion.
I never heard of an injured boy.
Not a scratch on him. I suspect he wasn't in the car when it exploded.
In the car? You mean...
Rufus.
Yes, Dyson. You killed his parents.
Why tell me this?
I don't know. Perhaps one day you'll talk to him and tell him the truth.
Who is that boy? How can I find him?
That's easy. Most of the time, he's in the same place. The place you never want to go back to. Why use a bomb? What were you trying to destroy?
The Dawson & Dawson ammunitions factory. A symbol of violence against the people. My group wanted to destroy it to send a message.
Ajajaj.
I sense your guilt, Dyson. Why is that? Did you not think violence was an acceptable political tool?
I still believe our fight was just. By killing an innocent couple who were just at the wrong place at the wrong time. No way.
That bomb also killed you that day, don't you see? You just die a slower death, drink by drink.
I know. Maybe I deserve judgment. Until that day, I'll just be Dyson the drunk, not Dyson the murderer.
Dyson zawsze wiedział, jak ukryć zbrodnię, to też nigdy nie stanął przed sądem? Okej. No dobra, wobec tego. To chyba wszystko.
Goodbye.
Dobra, kolejne 180 punktów doświadczenia. Sabrino, pogadaj ty
Still
ze mną.
working at this hour? That's what I call dedication.
Have you heard anything about Sean Hampton's shelter?
I was told he caught a deadly disease but survived against all odds. Maybe he really is touched by grace.
Któż to wie? Dobra, zobaczmy.
Were you aware of Tom's past incarceration?
That's the first thing he told me when he offered me the job. He didn't want me hearing about his past from anyone else.
Did it surprise you to find out about it?
Not really. I was already aware of his reputation before I met him. That's why I came to the turtle in the first place.
Most people would have run away because of that.
Not me. I thought a man like him could give me stability, you know? At least to some degree. And I wasn't mistaken.
Okej, tak swoją drogą, czy ja mam na jej temat... Nie mam jednej wskazówki. Okej, dobrze wiedzieć. Wobec tego, osobiste pytania.
I know you've been learning to use a gun, Sabrina. What are you up to?
I just want to feel safe when I go home at night.
I understand. Everyone has the right to defend themselves.
Yeah. Especially when there's no justice around.
O, wskazówka nie zadziałała, naprawdę? Ech.
Tell me, Sabrina, do you really believe Tom has renounced his life of crime?
He proves it to me every day he tells the truth. Tom Watts is a good man. One of the best.
And you don't think he might fall back into his sordid ways?
We can all do terrible things, Dr. Reid. And we never know what we're really capable of until it's too late.
Ajajaj, ale mi smutno mi i jestem zła. Jak ty mogłaś, kobieto? Jezu, Tom.
Welcome back, Doctor.
Twoje życie w Londynie, tutaj rozmawiałam z nim, o, okej.
Goodbye.
Czyli z nim rozmawiałam na wszystkie tematy, okej. Dobra, w takim razie Sabrina, tutaj ten... Czy ktoś jeszcze jest, kogo bym chciała tutaj zagaić? Wydaje mi się, że z tymi ludźmi na wszystkie tematy rozmawiałam, co oznacza, że chyba przechodzimy tak naprawdę dalej. Wydaje mi się. Archer Woodbeat. Jestem ciekawa, gdzie on by był. Stella Fishburne. Nie kojarzę akurat, gdzie by był Archer. Szczerze mówiąc, za Chiny nie kojarzę. O, tu jest! Cześć!
Good evening, sir. I'm amazed you made it back to the docks alone. Good for you.
Well, I could say the same about you, young man. More to the point, who the hell are you?
I'm Dr. Jonathana Reida.
And I am Archer Woodbead. Please excuse my assertiveness. I often forget I'm just an old prune.
Okej.
Do you have any recent news on Sean Hampton's shelter?
The man is still here. He's trying to help others despite the terrible things he endured. I'm impressed.
What can you tell me about this part of town?
People used to feel safe around here. They had the gangs protecting them. Now all they do is bicker and plot against one another.
Missing the good old days, are you not?
Trust me, son. The longer you live, the less meaning your existence will have. You need to remember the days you still had beliefs.
And what about the gangs?
Back in my day, people trusted the wet boot boys. We looked out for the docks and its families. Nowadays, they're just a bunch of greedy fuckers.
You were a gang member.
Archer przewodził mokrymi kaloszami w czasach, kiedy były szanowaną szajką.
I was their leader for a time, believe it or not. Now these bastards act like I'm nothing. Not one of them. They owe me some damn respect.
Okej. Historia.
If you were such a respected figure, surely you have many interesting stories about this part of town.
You bet I do, but make no mistake. I'm no rat, sir. Some secrets are best left buried.
Okej.
Do you still know anyone? From the old days, I mean.
Most of them are dead. I still give Miss Gillingham salutations. She doesn't remember me. She did once like me. Boy, she was a beauty back then.
Okej.
Who would you trust around here?
The owner of the Turquoise Turtle's a decent fella. Tom's his name. Sean Hampton's all right too. Don't particularly share his religious views. He's quite devout if you catch my meaning.
Any remarkable new faces around here?
Nobody. Well, there's that boy Rufus the Curse. I like him, despite the reputation he's made since his parents died. Poor little bastard.
I'm sure a district as colourful as the docks must have plenty of stories about strange visitors and creepy characters.
So, you want me to talk about the sewer dog, don't you?
If you don't mind.
The sewer dog is a bitch. Appropriately named, an old woman dressed in rags. She has an elegance, though, despite her ugliness. I saw her once, Scared the life out of me.
Czy oni mówią o starej Bridget? Tak mnie ciekawi. W sumie, no, prawdopodobnie. Dobra, zobaczmy w takim razie.
Have you always been so bitter?
It's not bitterness, it's poorly masked disgust. When everything turns to shit, we all have to eat a spoon or two.
Prawda?
With everything that's happened recently, the war, Spanish flu, I must concede that these are difficult times.
A few nights ago, I saw a kid eating a rat. He was right in front of one of those abandoned houses nearby, just chewing on a living rat's insides.
Ciekawe.
Tell me about the Wet Boot Boys, Archer. I want to know more.
We were there for the families and each other. It was us against the world. We were vicious, tough, even cruel. But we were united.
You sound like you were some kind of radical union member.
Yes, nowadays the communists and gangs squabble over pointless territory. Sounds stupid when you say it out loud.
Okej.
Tell me everything you know about the Guard of Priwen.
Andrew never told me what they do. I do know they're vigilantes with military training. Access to some impressive firepower.
And what is your personal opinion about the Guard, then?
This Guard of Priwen is just another gang preying on the young and naive. Preying on people like my boy. I know how it works. I invented it.
Archer wini stróżów Priwen o to, że jego syn zaginął.
Why did your son really join the Guard of Priwen?
If I believed in a higher power, I'd see this as punishment for my own sins. I deserve it for all the young men I enlisted back in the day.
You don't believe in God, though, do you, Mr. Woodbead? So why did he join?
Now I think about it, Andrew joined the Guard, not to defy me, but to follow in my footsteps, to make me proud.
So your son has left you nothing to explain his actions? No letter or message?
Not even a note. I'm a proud man, Dr. Reid. But I would kneel and pray if I thought it would give me my Andrew back.
Cóż, nie dziwne. Tak
Goodbye.
na ogół reagują rodzice, prawda? Dobra, jeszcze jestem ciekawa, czy znajdę gdzieś tutaj, chociaż ja wątpię, żebym ja tutaj gdzieś znalazła tego typka. Mianowicie chodzi mi o gościa, którego uratowaliśmy w kanałach. Tak więc myślę, że bym chciała się przejść do tam schronienia Shona. No jednak bardziej mi pasuje Sin. Tutaj jest stronę softworku, czyli powinnam w przeciwną stronę lecieć. W takim razie, bo bym chciała właśnie pójść w stronę azylu. A tak w ogóle, jeszcze przy okazji, dobra, powiedzmy, że w ten sposób, potrzebuję, oczywiście, że tu się nie ładuje, tutaj śledztwo bym chciała ostatnio zrobić. Tak więc, no, gdzie jest to śledztwo w ogóle? O Jezus Maria. Spal. Zdecyduj to zrobić w sprawie kampanii. To jest dobre pytanie, szczerze mówiąc. No tutaj jest w ogóle zamknięte?
I cannot enter.
Okej. Co jest tutaj w ogóle? Nie mam zielonego pojęcia, nieważne. Tak. Gdzie ja jestem? W złą stronę się kieruję. W tym kierunku bym się chciała kierować. W tym kierunku bym się chciała kierować, tak. Albowiem język polska trudnym być, jak to zwykle bywa. Dobra, wobec tego, tam pewnie jest ta wielka bestia, czy dzika bestia, czy cholernik, ale my pędzimy... O, migający skal. Dzień dobry. Serio. No tak, przecież jak nie widzę typa, to kurka wodna nie działa, nie? Teraz zadziała. No. No i fajno. Przynajmniej mi od razu odładowało. To jest miłe jednak. Tutaj w śmietniku nic nie ma, szkoda. O, kurka wodna, stróże Priwen widzę. Kapelani, te sprawy. Cudownie. O, mogę tutaj przykleić, tak? Hehe. Siema. Zostaw mnie z tą swoją normalnie bożą tą. A właśnie, w ogóle sobie zorganizowałam taki toporek fajny. Ale, kurka wodna. Taki sobie, bym powiedziała, ten toporek. Biorę jednak moją piłkę. Pyk! Ajajaj! Gdzie mnie tutaj próbujesz nabić? Ała! Ała! Autofagią. Wiesz co? Dobiję cię tym. No. No i fajno. W takim razie wziąłem sobie, zorganizowałam toporek, który w teorii zadaje większe obrażenia, ale trochę mi się w to wierzyć nie chce, jak tak patrzę. Więc tak, dolny brzeg tamizy, super. O, Enid. Fajnie. Czyli tędy jak przejdę, to będzie. Tak. Dobrze, okolice nocnego azylu. Mamy to. Wobec tego. Tam mamy i Kaboda, Giselle. Tutaj widzę, że mnie kieruje misja. Właśnie nie wiem, gdzie ja mam się udać, żeby... A, tutaj mogę spalić. Tak, to spalimy. Afisz ostrzegający. Zgłoś się do Ikaboda. Wobec tego. Tylko właśnie mnie ciekawi jeszcze, gdzie będzie ten gościu ostatni. Właśnie. No, jak mówię, ciekawi mnie to po prostu. Nie mam zielonego pojęcia, gdzie by go można było znaleźć. Znowu, kurczę, mówię tylko, że nie wiem, gdzie mogłabym znaleźć, a dosłownie wpadam na typa.
Good evening, young man.
There's no
Nieźle.
need to call me that, Dr. Reid.
Dobra, zobaczmy.
Have you heard anything recently concerning Sean Hampton's shelter?
He keeps investing time helping the poor and sick. Good for him. And for them.
Dobra, dobijmy targu, kolego. Masz coś intrygującego? Niewielki zegarek kieszonkowy, zwyczajny pistolet Parabellum. Mnie to nie interere. Ostatecznie nie ma niczego dla mnie ciekawego. Wracaj tu.
Good evening, young.
There's no need.
Dobra, zobaczmy. Osobiste pytania. Aha, wskazówek nie ma.
Goodbye.
Cudownie! Dobra, ty. Z tobą chciałam pogadać.
Good evening, sir. I'm glad to see you safe.
I am not safe. I should never have come back here. My life is in danger. I know it.
You're much safer here than in that contaminated area.
Bullets kill people quicker than diseases and epidemics, Dr. Reid.
Do you have recent news of Sean Hampton's shelter?
I heard he kept on helping people, but I tried to stay away from his shelter. I don't feel safe there.
Ciekawe, bo chyba byłby tam bezpieczniejszy, skoro się ukrywa chyba przed gangiem, jeśli ja dobrze kojarzę. Czekajcie. Tak, zabiwszy członka i nie miał zamiaru popełnić zbrodni. No to tam chyba by był bezpieczny, tak mi się wydaje, ale co tam? Co ja tam wiem?
The East End Dogs only knows one rule. Dog eat dog and blood calls for blood. The gang will have their revenge on me one way or another.
Zobaczmy. Rodney śmiertelnie boi się zemsty mokrych kaloszy.
What can you tell me about the locals?
Most people would say that Sean Hampton and Tom Watts are good men who try to sort things out. But for me, the real boss around there was my best friend, Jack Gillingham.
Jack Gillingham, you said?
Rodney sprzyjaźnił się z synem Enid Gillingham.
Everyone round there knew Jack. He was a rock. A mountain even. He feared nothing.
Okej. Wobec tego osobiste pytania.
Your friend Jack has something to do with you fleeing to the contaminated area where I found you. I want to know more.
Jack is dead. That's all you need to know. Dead because of me. So much violence. So much sorrow. All of that because I refused to be insulted again.
O!
No man can predict the exact outcome of his actions. It's the curse we have to live with. We can only gamble and do what we think is best.
Perhaps you're right. The district was doomed before I was born. But I cannot stop myself thinking that Jack died for me.
Why do you say that?
After I killed that gang member, the wet boot boy suspected Jack. And being loyal and all, he did not refute the accusation.
Ojej. Jack Gillingham wziął na siebie odpowiedzialność za zbrodnię Rodneya, żeby go ochronić.
The death of your friend has affected you deeply, hasn't it?
Jack Gillingham was the real deal. He believed we could change the world if we were united and focused enough. and he brought out the best in each of us.
You're right. He died to save you. That alone gives me an idea of the kind of man he was.
He was the bravest. And no one dares to say openly that he got killed by those bastards.
Your friend's plan was audacious, if not reckless. No one stands up by themselves to a gang like the Wet Boot Boys.
How dare you say that? You never met him.
You are not going to spend the rest of your life hiding, Rodney. What are you planning to do?
Honestly, I have no idea. How am I supposed to live while so many have suffered because of me?
Only you can answer that question. But one thing is certain. Since you owe Jack your life, I think it's fair to live it in a way that would make him proud.
That's the kind of thing Jack could have said, Dr. Reid. Thank you for that. I believe you're a good guy too.
Dobra, w takim razie zostawię go w tym momencie. I... tak coś mi się wydaje, szczerze mówiąc, że tego będę mogła podsłuchać. Tego typa, Martina Nightingale. Dlaczego mi się tak wydaje? Wydaje mi się również, że to będzie miało coś wspólnego z Enid. Syn został... tak. Tak mi się wydaje, że to będzie miało coś wspólnego i jestem ciekawa w sumie, czy ja faktycznie dam radę podsłuchać ich. Jestem, no jak mówię, ciekawa. Chciałabym, żeby poszli. Ajajaj. Jestem prawie na 100% pewna, że się da podsłuchać ich. Tak samo jak pewnie się da podsłuchać, zakładam, że się da podsłuchać te siostry całe, Giselle oraz tą drugą. Giselle oraz tą drugą, dokładnie. Nie pamiętam za Chin, jak ma na imię ta druga. Lottie, Giselle oraz Lottie. O, tutaj w ogóle widzę, że mogę wejść. Patrzcie. Miejsce dobre do podsłuchania. No. Ich się pewnie da podsłuchać. O, ho, 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 ho. Że tak powiem. No jestem normalnie momentami zbyt tego. Nie, no nie chcę mówić, że jestem zbyt mądra, bo to jest troszeczkę już nad wyraz, ale czasami się udaje, okej? Po prostu. Enid Gilligan. Ej, dobrze, w takim razie zaczekamy sobie na Martina. A, Martin już tutaj idzie, okej.
I'm sorry to say, but you haven't yet paid me for the clock I brought you last time.
The clock? Oh, yes. I found a broken clock in the living room and I couldn't remember where it came from.
You broke it. Ah, that is unfortunate. It was such a beautiful piece of work.
Really? Oh, I'm so clumsy these days. I'm so sorry. How much was it?
This'll be enough. I can't make you pay the whole price if it's broken.
That's so kind of you. I'm going to make some tea now.
Co za
It'll be
gnój.
enough until the next time you forget it, you old bat.
Martin Nightingale wykorzystuje słabą pamięć Enid do własnych celów. Martin wykorzystuje słabą pamięć Enid Gilligan do własnych celów. No, brzydzę się takim postępowaniem, szczerze mówiąc. Tutaj coś jest. Prawda, ja sama chodzę dookoła i rozkradam, ale błagam, to jest prawo gracza. Są szylingi, tak? Myślałam, że jest jakaś notka. Szczerze mówiąc. Tu mnie nie było? Naprawdę? Okej. Czy jest jeszcze jakieś miejsce, w którym mnie nie było? Tam po drugiej stronie byłam. Na pewno. No dzień dobry, panie Martinie.
Good evening, young man.
There's no need to call me that.
Wróć, osobiste pytania.
It's time to confess, Martin. You've exploited Miss Gillingham's weakness to your own advantage, have you not?
All I've done is smile at her and be kind to her. I've done no other harm than giving her what she needed. This is no crime.
I suppose we all justify our actions to ourselves in some way. So come, tell me what your excuse is.
You can blame my folks for that. They taught me never to expect nothing from anyone except lies.
So it's bad parenting then? How convenient. Where are your parents?
6 feet under, I suppose. When the fluid weakened my father enough for him to be too weak to punch me, I figured it was time to run away.
Marilyn porzucił rodziców chorujących na hiszpankę.
Is that why you let them die of the flu? Because your father was beating you?
When the epidemic started, last summer, I begged them to leave town. Neighbors were dying, houses were looted, but they chose to stay.
Do you have any regrets about what happened?
I haven't got regrets, but sometimes I'd like to make sure they're gone. Dead for good. Like, it helps me sleep.
Goodbye.
No dobra, w takim razie wszystko. Jeszcze do Enid się udamy właśnie. Oczywiście, że mnie weźmie za doktora Tippetsa znowu.
Good evening, Miss Gillingham.
Of course.
Dobra, weźmiemy sobie, pominiemy standardowo i porozmawiajmy z babeczką. No, dzień dobry.
So,
Dobra.
Have you heard anything recently concerning Sean Hampton's shelter?
I've never heard that name before, I'm afraid.
No oczywiście. Aha, tutaj jest to samo w sumie.
Miss Gillingham, why did you give Martin Nightingale the watch I returned to you?
I'm not sure. I don't know. I suppose I thought he needed a watch more than I did. I have no reason to really keep track of time anymore.
Why don't you need to keep track of time?
I've spent my entire life marching to the tick of clocks and the ringing of bells. At my age, it's nice to finally be rid of those burdens. On my time.
But it was your son's watch, Miss Gillingham.
It was, wasn't it? I'm relieved you found it. Besides, it's more useful to him anyway.
Aj, biedna kobieta w sumie.
Tell me, Enid, why do you feel guilty about your son?
I know I'm a burden to my Jack. I know my mind and my thoughts are drifting away. I'm so sorry. I can't help it.
This is not your doing, Miss Gillingham. You do not have to apologize for your condition.
Of course I don't, Doctor. I've done nothing wrong, I swear it. What exactly are we talking about here?
Enid, listen to me. You must not trust Martin Nightingale. Do you understand?
Martin reminds me so much of my Jack. I've not seen him here in quite some time.
Martin is not your son, Miss Gillingham. He's taking advantage of you.
No, Martin is not my son. My son's name is Jack. He always takes such good care of me. Who is this Martin you speak of?
Please listen. Martin is a young man who extorts money from you. Because of your vulnerability, miss.
What are you attempting, Dr. Tippets? If this is some kind of new experimental procedure, well, I do not like it one bit.
Aha.
Goodbye.
W sensie, wiecie, co to jest przykre, bo wygląda na to, że właśnie ta kobieta choruje, nie wiem, najprawdopodobniej myślę na Alzheimera. Co oznacza, że wiecie, właśnie krótkotrwała pamięć jest praktycznie nieistniejąca, bo długotrwała domaga nawet, właśnie pamięta swojego syna, pamięta doktora, który prawdopodobnie ją leczył. Panie moje drogie, czy was będę mogła podsłuchać, czy wy się stąd nie ruszycie, dopóki nie zrobię motywu kolejnego? Sin, witaj! Jak
Welcome
miło!
back to my humble shelter, Dr. Reid. Are you here to subdue me again?
No, Sean. I just came by to see how you are.
I feel all right. Why'd you ask?
Are you still feeding on corpses?
No. It's almost as though the blood you forced me to drink has provided me eternal satisfaction.
How is the sanitary situation in this part of town?
I think it's acceptable. Fewer cases of sickness recently. I thank the Lord for his mercy.
How are things in your shelter? Between the mortals and the immortals, I mean.
Even if we're all children of God, I've always maintained a strict frontier between the two communities.
What do you fear?
A few years ago, a Skal decided to pay a nocturnal visit to my sleeping customers. He got caught licking their necks in the dark. Since then, I have added a lock to the door.
What if food became scarce? Wouldn't the immortals in your flock be tempted to feed on the living? Wouldn't you?
The scales can feed on the dead, Doctor. And until Judgment Day, mortals will continue dying.
No dobra, tak mówisz.
Have you seen Harriet Jones since taking her to Old Bridget?
No, she is with the sewer scales now. I don't go downstairs.
But why did she fake her own death? There was so much blood in her room. She attacked patients, too.
I just lost her for a minute that night. When I found her, she had caused mayhem across the hospital. I slapped some sense into her, and we fled before getting caught.
What happened then?
We ran here through narrow streets and backyards. She kept saying that someone was talking to her in the dark, offering to avenge her. But I saw nobody.
What happened at the Pembroke?
I guess we recognized each other. As scales, I mean. She had but one thought. To punish. To get revenge upon everything and everyone. I realized I had to bring her here quickly.
How did you meet Old Bridget?
When younger, I used to patrol the streets at night, searching for lost souls. This is how I met her. It took me 2 months just to get her name. Now we support each other.
Had you already visited their hideout in the sewers?
Just once, and very briefly. Most of them are very discreet, and they see me as an outsider, even if I protect them.
You really are a saint, Sean.
Oh, no, sir, I'm not. But I know evil, and I believe goodwill and tenacity can make this world a better place.
Would you let me listen to your chest, Sean?
No, Dr. Reid. You already forced me to drink your blood, and I thank you for that, for I feel better now. But it was quite an unpleasant experience.
It would help me greatly if you would allow me to give you a physical examination.
I said no. I'm no subject of medical examination, and I intend only to obey and to kneel before God.
Okej. Dobra, to żegnam w takim razie. Ciekawa to była rozmowa, muszę przyznać, i nią sobie zakończymy odcinek. Tak więc dziękuję wam bardzo serdecznie za oglądanie. Mam nadzieję, że odcinek ten wam się podobał i że będziecie też oglądali odcinki następne. Zostawcie komentarz, łapkę w górę, bądź zasubskrybujcie kanał, będzie mi niezmiernie miło i do usłyszenia, mam nadzieję, następnym razem. Cześć!